Well, I guess this thing's on. Yeah, the timer's moving. Today is June 3rd, 2019. I'm Eric. Just Eric. Right now, I'm looking out at the ocean and a little island out there, and the water is totally blue. There's only so many places that it can be that way when you're still in the US, and I am in the Keys, Florida. I'm in the upper part of the Keys. I haven't made it to Marathon yet. This is about where I began on my journey this way. Well, I met a guy. Now you might see some in the background, what I was just looking at. I met a guy and I tell him some of this stuff that I've been going through in my life, and like it's become being called my adventures now, and he recommends I start a YouTube. So he says this a couple days ago. I'm an ambitious person, so here I am. I'm videoing today, June 3rd, after some interesting events have come about on the adventure that I've already been on. So, just a little backstory. I went to Carolina Beach to check out the ocean, having an idea that going there might help me with some issues. And I did, and it did. And when I went back to where I was living, it dawned on me that I had an aunt in Miami that I might go visit. So I did, visited, things went well, and I decided to stay. And I made this plan to buy a sailboat and move onto the sailboat and do everything on my own. I'm just gonna be totally candid about everything that's going on. I don't see any other way to be about it. Why not be fully open and honest and let my mind just flow onto this? Because I'm an interesting type of person. I describe things in certain ways and see things in different lights and can get through things in different avenues that people wouldn't notice normally. And you'll see what I mean later when I go back to some of the old stories, because there's plenty of new stuff coming up. So I make this decision in a week. The next week, I'm up buying a sailboat in New Hampshire, from Miami to New Hampshire. So I drive this thing back, and I put on about 3,500 miles or so trailering this thing. Never done anything like this quite in my life. Through New York City, all kinds of craziness. Anyway, I get it back in Florida, get in the water a couple days, and I'm on. Been on for about 2.5 weeks now. And I'm working on a few things right now. But anyway, today I'm coming out here to just chill and do nothing because it's Monday. And Monday in the Keys is second Sundays. That's kind of how it looks to me, because I have a name for everything. I name everything all on my own. I don't know why I do that, but it's interesting. So I've been here before one other time and got in the water. The water's great. It gets deep real fast. Maybe it's 8 feet out there, 9 feet. But you've got things growing out there. So let's see if I can flip this camera around. And oh boy, I think I just snapshot it instead. There we go. I can't see anything. All right, we'll turn it this way. Just put it behind me. Okay. So here's the water. This is nothing like Carolina Beach. The island is better. If we could blow it up. Zoom not supported for this mode. Well, I met this guy earlier today and told him about this idea at the parts store, because I like to tinker and work on stuff. I love it. And I can do just about anything. So I end up having to, by the way, make my own gaskets. But anyway, this guy says, yeah, you can do your YouTube stuff. My son's doing it. He's 7 years old. All on your cell phone. He said the new cell phones, you can do everything, do all the cropping and editing and all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, that's cool, because I've done Photoshop before in college. I could probably pull this off. He told me a little bit about what to do, however, and talked about shop stuff. But today's just going to be chilling in the sun, because nothing's going to happen today anyway, I found out. And my buddy, he's on a boat ride. And law of the land here is in the Keys, I see, and I go by, if there's a boat ride involved, you never interrupt it. Even if something's going on, you stop whatever you're doing and you go on the boat ride. Because that's a way of life. So I'm in a little spot of shade under this tree. These are like sanctuaries, because the heat here is intense. I moved from, it might get a high of 90, but it don't even feel like it's 90 because the wind blows there and it's cool. But down here, when the wind blows, it's still hot. And when it gets hot, you've got relative humidity and relative heat and actual heat and what you sense. And there's so many different variations of things that you have to put together. It's a lot to keep together. Well, so, tell you a little bit more about what the whole plan has been, because this plan has been going on now since a little bit before I went to Carolina Beach. I was thinking about getting a boat and being able to transport myself and scuba dive, become a dive master and teach people, instruct people in different places. When I got here, I saw how things go. I learned more about it. I'm free diving right now. Things are going well. When I go to dive class and get certified and start using equipment, I should just shoe in. There's so much to this stuff. So I get here and I see about the sailing, and I think about, what about destination dives? Take people sailing and then scuba diving all over. And then I'm thinking, treasure hunting. There's $60 billion worth of treasure out there lost, and there's 30 million shipwrecks. That's $2,000 per find. But, it doesn't really work out that way. And there's a lot of people out there. I mean, you watch TV here, everything's about somebody finding something out there. If it's not a treasure, it's fish, Same thing. All right. I'm going to try to snapshot a few things, and I'm going to add those in. And I'm going to have to talk to myself at times, and that's going to have to be edited out. Yes, Eric, edit it out. Because out there beyond me, we're looking pretty much due east-southeast is a tower in the water, and beyond that is mooring. When I put in the water, which was just down from here, I was out close to that area, and that was my first night in the sailboat, and I thought there was like waves that was like 6 feet or something high, but it wasn't like that. It was probably 3 or 4, and I was pretty worried. And then a couple of days later, I was in a cove, and a storm rolls in, and I had the anchor drag set on my GPS. It starts going off, and I'm freaking out. It keeps going off. The rainstorm's so bad, I got the hatch open. I let the water come in because I'm scared. I'm looking at the life vest like, you look nice right now. But I didn't put it on yet, because I'm not too worried, and I don't want to necessarily float. There are other things in the water. You might want to be able to swim with them instead of just bob around. So the rain stops and the morning comes. I'm like 20 feet from this guy's pier and 25 feet from his boat. I drifted, I don't know how far. It's on my GPS. I'll have to pull it up and add it in sometime. So the guy comes out. It's like just before 7 a.m. He comes out with a cup of coffee. He starts talking to me, and we get along well. And I take my boat out in the water, get back out, and get anchored in. Well, he comes out and he brings me an anchor, the type that's supposed to be used in the area, and tells me a little bit about using it. So I start studying anchoring, because anchoring obviously is your most important thing in the water. If you cannot anchor, then you are adrift, and then you can't be located. They have to keep updating your GPS coordinates and stuff if you're drifting, and the Coast Guard may not find you. I mean, they can barely see a short distance. It's very difficult on the water to see. I mean, yes, they say, yeah, you can see 15 miles or whatever. That doesn't mean they're going to see you and within that 15-mile range. The most important thing I've found, and I'll tell you about that story too later because it's a past one, stay with the frickin' boat. And I'll tell you why later. But trust me, stay with your boat. And since we're going in that direction there, stay out of the mangroves. You will die. Some people can make it out, Bear Grylls and people like that. I did. I was lucky though. I'll tell that story later. And I've got plenty of stories about my life to tell you, but later. Right now I've got adventures full right now. So get this engine, and I got to do a little bit of work, but it's running. Just needs a little bit of work, and it ran very well. I'm very pleased with it. Just got to do a little bit of gasket work, but I can't find the gaskets. I went to a parts place and got online myself and can't locate them, so I'm gonna have to make them. But thanks to my Uncle Keith, when I was younger, and being around him and other people influential in my life, I've learned how to cut and make gaskets when I was younger, and I remember how to do that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna make the gaskets that I need by going to another store where they carry those supplies. While I'm doing things like that, I will video. While I'm putting the stuff back together, taking it apart, I'll video. I may not be going over every little detail with you. I'm not a mechanic, but I can do pretty much anything. I've never taken my car to a shop until now because I don't do stuff like that anymore. I like to tinker and have fun. You know, a little boat motor is no big deal. It's only 25 horsepower, and it's 2-cycle. I had a logging company. I had a bunch of chainsaws, and I know 2-cycles very well, running weed eaters and such when I was a kid. You know, I know 2-cycles. They're pretty simple. The cool thing about them is they have oil without and within, and the salt doesn't hurt them as bad if they take a dip. Okay, so today I'm going to take in a little bit of sun. And I don't know why anybody's not in the water, but it's Monday. Today's National Go Home from Work Early Day. So people's leaving early. That's cool. Glad I don't have to work anymore. So that's part of my life too. Yeah. I don't work anymore. The government takes care of me, and I appreciate it very much because they know what I've been through, and they take good care of me. They look out. I will say I am a Trump backer, big time. He is rock solid, and maybe one of our best, or the best president ever that we've had, because what he says he does. And that's when you have a backbone like that. I've seen, weakness in different people, and you need strength, especially in a nation like ours, where strength is safety for other people and us too. We need strength. And Trump has a lot of strength, and I appreciate him sharing that strength for our country. One thing I've learned about being in the Keys is life slows down and you don't deal with the T word, time. for my last 2 weeks or so, I kind of forgot about what day of the week it was. I just knew kind of where it was in the month. Because I just laid around and I've been free diving my anchor, things like that. Because sometimes my anchor get hooked in there pretty good, which I don't mind. Rather have my anchor stuck than drift and have to dive and get the thing loose. I don't mind because I love to dive. And crazy thing about this is I decided to dive after having fear of water all my life. And I'll get into why later too, because that's all the past. But I used to have to hold my nose going under the water. Now I can let the water run down my nose and into my throat and swallow it. It doesn't bother me at all. I do it in the bathtub, I do it in the ocean. I can clear my mask underwater, in the ocean, and I can equalize already. And I've learned to do this all on my own and learned to free dive just by going through things that I've learned in the past and what I'm learning and seeing around me. And I'm telling you, the way that I do things is a better way. For some, not all can do that. Not all can just learn on their own. So that's why it may be good for me to show you adventures like that. It shouldn't make you afraid, though. This should give you strength and let you know that you don't have to fear as much because, or maybe not any, there is a way if you have the will. That's the key to life. You gotta have the will to push through things. So, my sailboat is sitting over by Long Key, the infamous Long Key mangrove. I would say people have went in there and not come out. I heard enough stories when I came out. So I got to get this engine onto my sailboat. The sailboat, I'll snapshot some pictures, and then I'm doing a remodel inside. It's not what I want, but the thing's made all of fiberglass. And fiberglass is easy to work with. You use cardboard to make your forms. Lay in a layer, glue fiberglass. Well, epoxy mix. It's easy. Anyone can do this. And I'm going to use one of my favorite tools to work and cut fiberglass out of the way. You don't want to use jigsaw. You want to use a roto zip, but you want to use something that can hold strength. You need a 1/4-inch bit, a big bit, something the size of your pinky, that's not going to break and go flying. Because I've had stuff going flying, cutting in wood. Fiberglass is a little different. But this roto zip, one I got, better powered, much better. Battery power is the way to go, especially on your boat, because you're limited in power. It's best to charge when you're running like a generator or something like that. That's what I do. I've got a tailgate 2-cycle, which is nice because they're both 51 watt engine and that. So I can run the same fuel. That makes it easy. You gotta make sure you got enough fuel on the boat too. And I've got a battery bank. I've got a charger for them, and I've got some solar panels, and I've got sails, so I can always sail. There's almost always wind in the Caribbean, coming from the north or the east. And, there's so much to it. But I'm going to cut out the boat and I have to add a toilet with a tank. I have to add what I'm going to add. I'm going to add a tub, a nice sized tub. And I'm going to utilize it in different ways, and you'll see as I'm making it, and I'll explain as I go. There's no point in going into it now. We can do it all at one time and get it over with. One thing about me is I do move fast. I speak fast at times, and sometimes I'll go through things, and I'm not going to explain myself. If you want to know what I'm talking about or what I'm doing, go back and review it again. Just pay attention a bit closer, take some notes or whatever you need to do to keep up. This is my speed, and this is my YouTube about my life. It's just a possible chance. Oh, there's the biggest interruption. You always get interrupted by someone else speaking. And I'll talk about that when I explain something about mindfulness and stuff. Anyway, just do your best to keep up. I know I can get into some craziness, but pay attention to some other things while you're watching me. I don't get upset. You know, I do curse, but I don't curse about things or about people. You know, and I try to laugh all the time. Laughter is the best medicine. And I'll show you some other lessons I've learned since I've got here about driving and all kinds of stuff, because the Keys has its own way, but this stuff can work anywhere, I figured out. So anyway, that's good information for now. I'm going to get out here and sit on the edge in the sun, and I don't think I'm going to put my phone in the sun right now until I figure out this heat. I probably need to get me a GoPro to get started with. But the phone will work for now, so we can just get some video done, because it's a lot of video clip put together and then editing things together and making sense of things in clips, and I just want to do snapshots of a lot of shit to get this YouTube shit going, because this YouTube is gonna run at least 12 hours a day, every day, and I'll do it in clips, and sometimes we'll have live feeds. Sometimes, most of the time, it'll be recordings, because, you know, for safety reasons of myself, you know, I can't just have things going and show every little detail. Some things, you know, won't be shown because of safety reasons. Maybe I had a safety issue, but I will teach about the safety issue so that other people won't have those problems, because I do run into some crazy stuff and get some crazy injuries, like this guy right here. My elbow, if you can tell. Mangrove bit me. A couple other places on my legs and stuff similar. Alright, so that's good for now. I'm going to lay in the sun, and we'll add to this more when I come up with some more of my baloney to spill at you. No ants. I don't mind. I mean, don't let them go up your shorts too far, right?